KFI AM 640. You're listening to the John Kobylt podcast on the iHeartRadio app.
John Kobylt, he's in Iceland with a bunch of listeners, so we'll be here till 4:15, and then the Chargers come on, and then Mark Thompson comes in at 9 to 10 o'clock, and I bet he's thrilled about that. So what does John say, Debbie? If you missed any part of the show, listen to Conway at 4?
No.
What does he do?
He says listen to his podcast.
Listen to his podcast at 4.
Yep.
How dare he?
I know.
But anyway, there's a big, huge story in the NBA, and we fortunately we have the Duke of Sports for 3 hours, so we're going to get into that in a bit. But the NBA is in a lot of hot water. But first, Jayson is with us. Jayson Campadonia, right?
Campadonia,
yes, man, what a stud you are, buddy. You've been following this horrible wreck. And I remember Angel talked about it. It was I think it was the day before yesterday this actually happened, where a truck driver was on the 10 freeway going westbound and right near the 15, didn't slow down, slammed into a bunch of people. 3 people died. What more do we know about this cat?
Well, have you seen the video?
Oh, the video is unbelievable. The dash cam is horrible.
It's incredible. He didn't even slow down. That's what we're learning today, is that the guy didn't even slow down, did not apply the brakes at all.
But did you see the dash cam in full motion, or did they slow it down?
No, in both. I've seen both.
But when they slow it down, it doesn't mean anything. You got to watch it in real speed.
Exactly. And I can't imagine being somebody on the road next to this guy or even in front of this guy. It was incredible. But what we're learning about the actual driver is that he's an illegal immigrant.
No.
He is from India, lives in Yuba City.
Which is where, near Arizona and California, Mexico area?
No. Yuba City is in Northern California, about 100 some odd miles.
Oh, that's Yuma. That's Yuma.
That's Yuma.
All right.
Yeah, what we know is that he came across the border and was apprehended by Border Patrol in 2022. And then he was released pending the outcome of his case, and drove up to Yuba City, lives there, apparently lived a nice life, has friends,
right,
and things, and then got a commercial driver's license and started driving truck to make a buck.
Right, and you can do that when you're here illegally. They can get all the paperwork done, the background check and everything. And
so the Newsom administration will argue that if you meet federal and state immigration requirements of some kind, so he gets detained at the border and then is compliant into whatever they want, whatever they need, and then you're released into the country. And then you can go and you can apply for work visas and things like that. So this is what's happening. In California, you don't have to speak English to get a commercial truck driver's license.
Thank God, right?
So, and this is what Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, is saying. Hey, this is not good for anybody, because the truck drivers, they cross state lines and they come back and forth, and they can really do some damage. This is actually happened in Florida a couple of days ago. Illegal truck driver from India caused a crash, killed 3 people there.
Is that the guy that made the U-turn?
Correct, on the turnpike there.
Right.
And then there was another crash in Indiana where some people died, where there was another illegal truck driver or illegal immigrant truck driver. So a lot of these things. So Sean Duffy's withholding $40 million in federal funds.
From California?
From California, until they change this. Hey, you have to speak English in order to get a commercial truck driver's license.
Wow.
But nobody is answering the question. I've contacted Newsom's office, contacted Department of Homeland Security, contacted Department of DMV.
They didn't get back to you, huh?
Nobody gets back to me.
Yeah.
And because you're asking the question, hey, how did this guy, number one, why is he still here? How come he's not, in processing somewhere or some detention center of some kind? Because he crossed the border illegally. And now we're waiting to hear where he got this license from. It's not totally determined that it was a California driver's license. We don't know, but we do know that California and Washington are handing out driver's license like candy.
One of the few places in America where you can still get away with yelling at people, English only, is a poker game at a casino. Like if you're playing at the Commerce Casino, right, and there's a table of 10 and 2 guys start speaking a foreign language to each other, you can yell at them, English only.
Oh.
And they get kicked out.
Know that.
They get kicked out if they don't speak English only. But you can't, you do that at a Mexican restaurant or you do it at a ballpark or something, you're gone.
Absolutely.
The only last place in the world where you can scream that at people is a poker table at a casino.
That's good to know.
Yeah, that's about a wrap on that.
Good to know.
What is this guy looking at time? He's killed 3 people. Are they going to throw him in prison if he gets convicted and then deport him, or vice versa? I don't know.
So Homeland Security has issued what's called an immigration hold or an immigration detainer on the guy. So whatever. He's due in court, according to the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office. He's going to be in a Rancho Cucamonga courtroom tomorrow, the 24th.
Okay, not only is he's here illegally, he's driving like crazy. He plows into people and kills 3 people. But evidently, he's all hopped up on drugs or alcohol.
So he's facing several charges, right? So DUI, which could be alcohol or drugs. It doesn't discriminate. Vehicular manslaughter, and then there are also some drug charges, but we don't exactly know what those are.
Right.
So when he's in court, we're expected to learn more about that kind of.
As George Carlin calls guys like this, life's most interesting guys. I mean, guys that just go for it on every single level. You would think with you're not a resident of France, are you?
No.
Okay. Let's say you tried to sneak into France and you got yourself a job. Imagine, you sneak into France, you got a job as a truck driver, and then you decide, well, I'm also going to get bombed as a truck driver while I'm here on a visa or here illegally and fly on the highways of Southern California.
It doesn't seem like the smartest choice.
It doesn't seem like, yeah, you're exactly right. I think you've crystallized my thoughts. Unbelievable. So this is a big story, though. This is, this story and the NBA story. I mean, those are 2 that are dominating the news today.
It really is, because now the feds are going to get involved, and Trump's always got something to say. Sean Duffy's out there talking, so this kind of thing is really going to catch fire, and it really fuels the Republican narrative that these people don't belong here. Illegal immigrants should not be anything here.
Right. So all right, let's go back to the $40 million. $40 million, right?
$40 million.
How does California reactivate that money?
Well, they would have to comply, and they would have to change their commercial truck driver's license protocol.
Right.
And
do you have to be a citizen? You have to speak English?
Have to be a citizen, have to speak English in order to be issued a commercial truck driver's license.
I see. Okay. All right. So a poker room and truck drivers. The only time you can yell at them, English only.
Apparently so. Yes, that is correct.
Buddy, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it, man.
No problem.
All right. That is great. Really appreciate you coming on. I'm sitting at the Conway Show. I'm sitting in for John Kobylt. He's in Iceland, I believe. Is that right, Deborah Mark?
He was in Iceland.
Where's he
I believe
now?
he's home, probably listening to you right now. He's going to be back here tomorrow.
Oh, he is? I didn't know that.
Yes,
okay. Do you track him with the Apple tags? Do you guys track each other?
No.
Does anybody tag you, or do you track anybody?
No, but I did get a text from him and his wife, though. It was
I
nice.
see. Okay, that they are back. All right.
No,
All right.
not because they're back. Just they checked in with me last week.
For what?
Oh, my dad had emergency brain surgery.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah,
so they were,
How's he doing?
not that great.
Oh no, that's horrible.
I know.
Oh man, I know what you're going through. I know what you're going through. Especially guys, man. When guys get older, they George Carlin. I might as well just have George do the show. But he had a great saying that 80 to 90 is not a good decade for men.
Totally right.
Yeah, it is not a good decade, man. You get into your 80s as a man. Look, if you're a woman, you can live to 130 and still drive. But guys, they fall apart because they go for it in life. They drink more than they should. They smoke more than they should. A lot of stress on the guys. And we know there's an end game to this, If you go to any old folks' home, it's the 900 women to one guy.
Gee, thanks, Tim. You're making me feel so much better.
Hey, I'm just trying to put it, make it a little lighter around here. What the hell?
Thank you. No,
All right,
I
but
need
anyway,
that.
prayers for your dad. What's his first name?
Mike.
Mike. Oh, that's a great name, too. Great biblical name, I think. But that's great. All right, prayers for Mike. And I can't tell you, I can tell you firsthand, the power of prayer is true. It absolutely does work.
You think?
I 100%.
It hasn't worked so far, but
well, because you haven't asked enough people to pray. If you ask this audience to pray for your dad, and the people listening right now, you know who you are. You know who you are. You know that this works. Pray for Debbie's dad, Mike Mark, right?
no.
It's not. Okay, just
But we'll
Mike.
just say Mike.
Let's just say Mike. Okay, you're going to pray for Deborah's dad, and it is going to have an effect.
Oh, thanks, Tim.
It is going to.
And
All
I
right.
love that you call me Debbie.
Yes, little Debbie. Didn't Ken used to call you little Debbie? All right. John's not here. It's Conway Show till 4:15. Then the Chargers come on. And then Mark Thompson comes in for some reason between 9 and 10. He's going to be pissed. He's got to work that late because he hates working at night. He told me that. All right, we're live on KFI.
You're listening to John Kobylt on demand from KFI AM 640.
Conway Show sitting in for John Kobylt. He'll be back tomorrow. And anytime, whether it was the John and Ken show, which I was a huge fan of when they first started here and continued until the end of John and Ken and then listened to John. I was a huge, huge fan. And I noticed that, is that mic that's screwed up? I noticed that when John and Ken came back from vacation, it was must listen to radio because he has just spent 2 weeks not talking about anything with his wife, not being able to yell and shout. And he's going to come back and he's going to be hotter than hell tomorrow. Hotter than hell.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. It's going to be a mess. All right. We've got the Duke of Sports with us. He's Eric Sklar. He's the producer of the show and the technical director of the show and a big sports fan. He's in three fantasy leagues. Is that right? 3?
Yeah, fantasy football.
Fantasy football. So he's a guy's guy. I mean, that says, you're a guy's guy, but it does limit your free time when you're out there, with 9 other guys figuring these games out all the time. I never got into that. I didn't know the game that well, but you really know the game.
I think I know the game.
Yeah. Have you ever won these leagues?
One of them, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. How much money do you win at the end?
This one I won like $350.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, the NBA's in trouble. What are the broad strokes on this?
Big time.
This is what would you rate this on a scale of 1 to 10? Is this a 9?
This is like a 12.
No way. Is that really?
This is like
this includes an active player and an active coach.
Active player, active head coach who coached a game last night.
Wow. And then, Portland coach, right?
Yeah, the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers
right.
and NBA Hall of Famer, former player, NBA champion for the Detroit Pistons, Chauncey Billups.
Wow.
And then current Miami Heat guard, Terry Rozier. And then former NBA player, former NBA assistant coach, Damon Jones, who's in the very inner circle of LeBron James's life.
Right, and he got in trouble for spreading some information about LeBron being injured before a Milwaukee game?
Yeah, so there was a Milwaukee game in 2023. I believe it was February 9th. Bucks versus Lakers. LeBron was ruled out. Damon Jones got word that LeBron was going to be out before it was made public. Allegedly, he then sends some messages to some co-conspirators who are also indicted in this whole operation. There was over 30 people arrested in this whole operation.
Wow.
He sent a text message to some co-conspirators saying, hey, bet big on Milwaukee tonight. Someone's going to be out kind of thing. And make sure you put enough on the game for me to get a cut too. And
they lost the game. Lakers lost that game.
Yes, the Lakers did lose that game. There was a game that I just saw a screenshot of the indictment. January 15th, 2024, Damon Jones gives a heads up to some co-conspirators that he gets information from a trainer that someone's injured and they might not play as well as they normally do, might not play as many minutes as they normally do. Turns out that player ends up on the injury report as probable. He ends up playing in the game, does fine. The co-conspirator then asks for the $2,500 that he paid Damon Jones for the information back as a refund because the information was bad.
Wow. Okay. All right. So there's greed involved, gambling involved, stealing involved, cheating involved.
FBI Director Kash Patel says tens of millions of dollars involved in this operation. There's two separate operations kind of going on here. There's Operation Royal Flush, which is the illegal poker game, which Chauncey Billups, the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, is involved in. Then there's Operation Nothing But Net, and that is what Damon Jones and Terry Rozier are involved in, and which is more game fixing, as in like Terry Rozier, the guard for the Miami Heat. He is alleged to have pulled himself out of a game and told his co-conspirators that he was going to do this prior to the game, put a bet on my unders, basically to put the unders for his statistics on the prop bets, and said, I'm going to pull myself out of the game early, bet the unders. Here's that info.
Okay, but aren't these guys, they're all making millions of dollars a year. But
Terry Rozier's made over $100 million in his career.
Oh, and these small little prop bets, I think most of the websites limited to $1,000 or $2,000.
Well, some of these bets were placed online. Some of these bets were placed in person at casinos in Vegas. So the in person bets, they can be a little bit bigger. No.
Yeah, but not much more. I mean, they're not going to take a $500,000 bet on an over on a minutes played.
Because not at one time, but maybe over the course of a season, a couple of different games. There's the indictment and investigation cites there's like 7-8 different games being like targeted as far as like the evidence that the feds have.
Well, it's serious when Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, these press conferences over the last, historically over the last 30 or 40, 50 years, when anyone gets in trouble, they're always given by lower level guys. The guy that is in charge of New York or New Jersey or L.A. or Chicago. But this is Kash Patel himself doing it.
Well, and this involves a major professional sports league, the NBA, current players, current player, current coach, former coach, but also the poker stuff
includes the mob.
It includes the mob. 4 of the 5 major New York crime families are named in this investigation.
I read it differently. I read it where I was like, oh, thank God the boys are still in business. I thought they had, either all gone to prison or washed out, but nope, they're still firing on all 8.
John and I have a common love of the mob and the history of the mafia and all of that. I texted him this morning a link to one of the stories, and I said, hey, look, the mob's still around kicking.
They're healthy. All right, we come back. We'll talk more about it and some more details, but the NBA hates this. The NBA, they hate this more than anything else. If an NBA player was driving drunk and hit a tree and, somebody died, they could deal with that. They cannot deal with this gambling because they've been rejecting and resisting gambling forever. They finally folded and accepted the fact that that's where the nation's going. And they knew that this was a possibility. And now it's here and it's bit them in the ass. And they are absolutely at full-scale panic over this. All right, it's Conway Show in for John Kobylt. He'll be back tomorrow. I'll be on till 4:15. Then the Chargers and the Minnesota Vikings are kick off at 5:15. We're live on KFI AM 640.
You're listening to John Kobylt on demand from KFI AM 640.
Conway Show sitting in for John Kobylt. He'll be back tomorrow. He'll be hot. He'll be angry as hell. He's going to be on fire tomorrow. So you got to set your watch, your clock, whatever, and till tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, he's going to go crazy. All the crap that's gone on while he's gone and he hasn't had any outlet, he's going to be on fire. The first couple hours, crazy. So tune in tomorrow at 1 o'clock for John Kobylt. I'm sitting until 4:15. Then the Chargers play the Minnesota Vikings. This might be bad timing, the Duke of Sports, Eric, because we're talking about NBA and gambling. But what's the line on that game tonight?
Hold on a second.
And do you have any inside information on what's going on with any of these teams? All right.
The line for tonight is Chargers -3.5.
Okay. So for people that are, don't hazard part of their wages on outcomes of certain event, that means when the game starts, if you're betting on Minnesota, you get 3.5 points at the kickoff. Chargers -3, right? -3.5.
-3.5.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's get into this. Also at 2 o'clock today, we got a guy coming on, a guy named Brad Garrett with ABC News, and he'll talk more about the NBA. The NBA has 2 huge problems right now. They've got the gambling on games, the information that's been passed on to which players are going to show up, which players are not going to show up. Let me ask you something, Eric. When they tell the public what the roster is for that night, do they traditionally do it in the morning or the night before the game?
The injury report comes out a few hours before the game, and then starting lineups are usually about 45 minutes to an hour before tip-off.
Oh, okay. All right. So it involves a current coach, a current player, lots of ex-players as well. And let's get some audio here, and maybe we can figure out who goofed here. Who goofed? I've got to know.
Is sure to rock the sports world. You mentioned Terry Rozier, and he's not the only one. Chauncey Billups, the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, and a multi-time All-Star, a Finals MVP back in his playing days, also arrested this morning as part of an FBI investigation into illegal sports gambling. Now, Rozier, he was arrested in Orlando this morning. And he was there because the Miami Heat played the Orlando Magic last night. Rozier was active for that game, but he did not play as part of a coach's decision.
Yeah, he may not play tonight either.
Now, this all comes after the Wall Street Journal reported back in January that Rozier was under federal investigation related to a 2023 game back when he played for the Charlotte Hornets, where there was a surge of suspicious gambling activity related to the under on his performance with points, rebounds, and assists in a game where Rozier ended up leaving after about 10 minutes with an ankle injury. So,
yeah, fellas made it too obvious.
The Wall Street Journal report detailed it so that it appeared that perhaps Rozier was accused of changing his performance in the game in order for other people to make money on his bets or on their bets. Now, this is part of an investigation that also landed a lifetime ban for Jontay Porter, a former Toronto Raptors player who pleaded guilty to his role. He's awaiting sentencing in December.
All right. And then there's the LeBron James angle on this. Some info was leaked before LeBron James was supposed to play in a game against the Milwaukee Bucks. You know, a lot of people are saying, this is Donald Trump doing this. He's bringing Kash Patel, down like a hammer on the NBA. But the Duke of Sports, and for this, in these, conversations, I refer to you as the Duke of Sports because you're on all social medias as the Duke of Sports.
Yes.
This investigation had to be going on for years. There's no way this thing started 8 months ago.
This investigation was definitely going on prior to President Trump taking office. The mention of the player Jontay Porter in that story in the audio you just played, he's a former player for the Toronto Raptors. His brother, Michael Porter Jr., plays for the Brooklyn Nets now.
Are they on leave?
Jontay is awaiting sentencing to go to jail because of his involvement in a gambling operation. But there are people that were indicted in Jontay Porter's case that are also indicted in this case.
Oh, my God.
So there is some sort of connection.
That? Ding dong. Right?
Ding dong.
Ding dong. All right. Let's figure out what LeBron James has to do with this. But LeBron James personally is not being investigated.
No, he from all reports, was unaware of Damon Jones's gambling activities and had no knowledge of any of this.
All right. I hope that that is forever true, because man, what a career he's had, and to be stung by this late in the career would be horrible. Isn't this his 23rd season in the NBA?
Yes.
23rd. Well, he hasn't started in the NBA yet.
He hasn't played
yet. But he will play eventually this year.
Supposedly.
Hopefully. Right. Well, let's find out what LeBron James' connection to this is when we come back. It's the Conway Show. I'm sitting in for John Kobylt, and he's going to be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. We'll be on today until 4:15. Then the Chargers will play Minnesota Vikings until about 9, and then Mark Thompson from 9 to 10. So there's your evening.
You're listening to John Kobylt on demand from KFI AM 640.
Conway Show, sitting in for John Kobylt. He'll be back tomorrow. I'll be on till 4:15 today, if you can tolerate that. And then Chargers and the Minnesota Vikings will be on until about 9, and then Mark Thompson, 9 to 10. Before we get into LeBron James, I got to say this. Deborah Mark, I've known Deborah for, how long have we known each other? 12 years?
Yeah,
13 years?
like that,
okay.
Yeah.
You are a beautiful daughter to your dad.
Oh, thank you.
She goes to the hospital every single day to see her dad. And there's something about daughters that when their dads get sick, they are the lifesavers of the family. My sister was the same way when my dad was sick. My dad was, for the last 3 or 4 years of his life, very, very sick, very ill, not able to get around on his own. And whatever nursing home he was in or hospital, My sister Kelly went in the morning, she went at lunch, and she went after work. She was there 3 times a day, every single day, to sit there with my dad.
Oh, I don't do that, Tim. I just go after work every day, and then I'm there on the weekend. So
Yeah,
your
but you
sister
go
was
every day.
better.
No, you go every day. She had a job where she could afford to, to take that time, but man, she was involved in every aspect of my dad's life right up until the end.
Oh, you have to be an advocate. I don't understand how people survive being in hospitals and rehab places if you don't have a family advocate there. Seriously.
You have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have so many stories to tell. I won't go into it now, but crappy healthcare industry. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And you have to be there because, a lot of these nurses, God love them, they're doing great, but they're making minimum wage and, they're on their phones. And, my mom was at Cedars-Sinai and I had a great, she had fantastic nurses at Cedars-Sinai. We moved my dad. He was at St. John's for a while. Again, St. John's, beautiful nurses at St. John's. But these other places, these living facilities where, they have not end of life, but these nursing homes where they take care of people 24 hours
hospice?
a day. Yeah, even before hospice, they're short staffed, and they have to take care of a lot of people, and they hear buzzes, the buzzer or the whistle or going off or the beep on the machine. That's just like a smoke detector to them eventually.
Okay, Tim, my dad was we had him in a chair. Now, he had brain tumor, and then he had a second brain surgery because he had fluid and pus. He got a brain infection after he had brain surgery. And he's falling off the chair, and we couldn't get him. And it's beeping because there was an alarm on the chair. And I go running out to the nurse's station, and there's like 10 nurses there. I won't say the hospital yet.
Okay.
But and one nurse is on the phone, and I said, Hey, do you guys not hear that very loud ringing? Because it's loud. And they look at me. Oh, yeah, we'll go get your nurse. I said, my dad is falling down a chair.
Good for you. And
they hated me. Oh, they all hate me. They do. Every place we've been, they hate me. And I don't care.
Right. But you have to do that. If you don't do it, who's going to do it?
Right.
Who's going to do it?
Right.
But anyway, God bless your dad. Been through that. And it's not easy. It is not easy at all. But I will say, daughters, they're the best. They're the absolute best. I had a friend of mine who lives in Studio City, and he was choking on a piece of steak one night.
Oh, God, that's my fear.
And he had...
Not steak.
Yeah, he's like screaming. He's like, he can't breathe. And his sons walked through the kitchen playing, on their phone and just walked by. Dad, I hope you're okay. Keep walking. But the daughter comes running from the other side of the house, gives him the Heimlich maneuver and saves his life. But the daughters are the best. Man, I at the end of your life, if you got a daughter, you got a great ally.
I have to give a shout out to my brother. I doubt he's listening, but he has definitely been there helping me. So it's been great.
Oh, that's
It hasn't
good.
all been me, but it would be almost impossible.
And I'm glad you came in because you need that distraction. Otherwise, it'll drive you crazy.
I did take some days off, and but the people, the management at KFI have been amazing because one day in Crozier, shout out to Crozier too. It was a very emotional day, and I had to leave early, and Crozier came and did a couple of my last casts for me. So it hasn't been amazing, but it is nice to come in and try and forget about it.
But it will eat you alive if that's all you do. If you're with him 20 hours a day, then you go home and you sleep and back there for 20 hours. You do need this distraction, to come in here and sit for a couple hours. But God bless him. I hope he has a speedy recovery. And I'm telling you, having you there going to visit him, it does, even some days where you think he's sleeping or he's out of it and he tells you, crazy stories. My dad I went with the stories. I remember my dad telling me a crazy story. He said, hey, Tim, there's one day he could recall what he ate on the set of McHale's Navy, what he told Ernest Borgnine, what he told the Grips, where he had lunch, where he had dinner, and he would very clear on everything. And then the next day he would say, hey, Tim, there's a kangaroo coming to buy my old Schwinn bicycle, but it's in the tree. Can you get it out of the tree and sell it to the kangaroo? And I said, Dad, already done. He came by today. He loved it.
No.
As a matter of fact, that kangaroo loved that Schwinn bike so much, he wants another one. Oh, my dad's like, oh, that's great. Sell him the red one. Sell that kangaroo the red bike. He's going to love it. I went with the stories. There are two schools of thought. One is to correct them all the time.
And that's what I do.
Okay. I decided to go the second route and just go along with the stories.
Well, then my dad, I'm there every friggin' day, Tim. And then my dad says, where have you been? You're not here. You weren't here. He tells other people, my son, my daughter, they're not here. Like, what are you talking about? I'm there every single day.
Yeah, my dad told me, he says, when I'm in the hospital, don't come visit me. And I said, all right, but I'll just, stay here for 5 minutes. And he goes, no, get out. I'm trying to get better. Get the hell out. And tell your brother and sisters don't come by either. I'm trying to get better around here, you idiots. It's tough, but there are some funny moments. There's some light moments, and I hope you have those as well with your dad.
Thanks,
but God
Tim.
love you and your dad, and I think he's going to get a speedy recovery. I really do.
Thank you.
All right, we're live. When we come back, we're going to have a guy who knows a lot about this NBA problem, Brad Garrett with ABC News. He'll fill in some of these blanks, but the NBA is under a lot of heat right now. It's Conway Show, sitting in for John Kobylt. He'll be back tomorrow right here on KFI AM 640.
Hey, you've been listening to the John Kobylt Show podcast. You can always hear the show live on KFI AM 640 from 1 to 4 p.m. every Monday through Friday. And, of course, anytime on demand on the iHeartRadio app.